Where do I look? Okay. Hello, superheroes. I am going to be reading you a story today. And today's story is called The Signmaker's Assistant. So, what is an assistant, right? An assistant is someone who helps someone do something. So, you know how in class I have a teacher's assistant every week. Well, this little boy, he's an assistant to a sign maker, which means he helps him make signs. So this is called The Sign Maker's Assistant by Ted Arnold. Everyone in town agreed the old sign maker did the best work for miles. Under his brush, ordinary letters became beautiful words, words of wisdom, words of warning, or words that simply said which door to use. When he painted stop, people stopped because the sign looked so important. When he painted please keep off the grass, they kept off because the sign was polite and sensible. When he painted good food, they just naturally became hungry. People thanked the sign maker and paid him well. But the kind old man never failed to say, I couldn't have done it without Norman's help. So that's the sign maker, and that's his assistant, Norman. Norman was the sign maker's assistant. Each day after school, he cut wood, mixed colors, and painted simple signs. Soon I will have a shop of my own, said Norman. Perhaps, answered the sign maker, but not before you clean those brushes. One day, after his work was done, Norman stood at a window over the sign and watched people. They stopped at the stop sign. They entered at the enter sign. They ate under the good food sign. They do whatever the signs say, said Norman to himself. I wonder. He crept into the shop while the sign maker napped. With brush and board, he painted a sign of his own. So, when he noticed that everyone in town followed the signs, he began to wonder himself, what do you think he's going to do right now? Think about it. What do you think he's going to do now that he knows that everyone follows the signs? I think he's going to try to make a sign. Let's see. Sorry. Let's try this again. There we go. Early the next morning, he put up the sign, then ran back to his window to watch. No school, muttered the principals. How could I forget such a thing? No one informed me, said the teacher. Hooray! Cheered the children, and everyone went home. This is great, cried Norman. He looked around town for another idea. Oh, he said at last, there is something I've always wanted to do. So if you notice, Norman painted a sign that says no school today, and all the kids were excited because they didn't have school. But the teachers were so surprised because they didn't know. They didn't know because Norman snuck and did the sign. Do you think that was a good idea? I don't think that was a good idea. It's not good to put pranks on people. Norman was the sign maker's assistant. Each day after school, oh, sorry, I went back the wrong way. The following day, Norman jumped from the top of the fountain in the park. As he swam, he thought to himself, I can do lots of things with signs. Ideas filled his head. That afternoon, when Norman went to work, the sign maker said, I must drive to the next town and paint a large sign on a storefront. I'll return tomorrow evening, so please lock up the shop tonight. As soon as the sign maker was gone, Norman started making signs. He painted for hours and hours and hours. So the sign that he made, the next sign he made said open for swimming, and all of the kids were swimming in the town pool or the town fountain, which is not right. Look at the officer. He's like, what is going on? Why is this sign here? Do you think Norman's gonna get caught? Let's see. In the morning, people discovered new signs all around town. Bank closed, deposit money here. So people were throwing away their money in the trash. Eat your hat. Do you see this hat has a bite bitten out of it right here, right here? Toy shop, buy Norman a present. And so everyone was coming to the sign maker's shop, dropping off presents for Norman. Do you think it was really smart that all these people were following the signs? If it were me, I would have said, why would I put my money in the trash? Who made this sign? But no one's questioning the signs. And you know why? Because they trust the sign maker. So they trusted that he was making those signs and that it's okay to do these things. But come on, eat your hat, really? Here's another one that says, go back 3 spaces. And the lady's like, wait, what? Here's another one where it says, stop, ants crossing. And so you see the little ants right there crossing. And the trucks actually stopped. And then this sign says, whack heads. Everyone's whacking heads. And this sign says garbage dump. So everyone is throwing their garbage in front of the formerly known grocery market. I think Norman is causing some trouble. This sign says detour. Detour means go another way. So it's basically detouring these people inside of a house to go out. Now look how these signs are destroying things everywhere. I think somebody's going to be in big trouble. So I think I'm going to stop here. Part 2 starts here. And I'm going to let you guys see the rest of the story tomorrow. So here's what I want you to tell me. I want you to tell me the 2 main characters. And I want you to tell me the setting of the story. And I want you to tell me what you think is going to happen next. And you can tell me all these things in a video on Class Dojo on your portfolio. So, or you can send me a video message. But stay tuned for part 2 of the Signmaker's Assistant. And hopefully the videos get better. I'm still practicing my YouTube channel. Bye, everybody.